So what happens when one of the partners has an emotional instability? One thing that I think a lot of couples don't understand is just because your partner isn't mentally ill and the two of you have had a great life, it doesn't mean that one of you cannot become emotionally unstable during traumatic times of the relationship. It's important to also understand that although the relationship is about love, commitment, the two of you together sharing a vision, it's also about working through seasons in your life. And seasons are those times that are unstable, especially when one partner is especially prone to being emotionally unstable. Now, you might ask me, well, can you see that ahead of time? No, you cannot. In fact, if you look at your life, if you've been married for more than 2 years, you may already see times you or your partner experience some emotional instability. Maybe a parent's death, maybe a child's death, maybe your own health. When people get cancer, and I used to work with this population in particular, they have moments of instability with their emotions. It simply means there's so much going on inside that you cannot control it. And you react. You sometimes react with just overwhelming crying and sadness and gloom and doom. Sometimes you'll do other things. You'll see people like in movies depicted that they had to get away and they took a trip in an RV, 3,000 miles away. People do all kinds of things when they're feeling emotionally unstable. I've got 10 items that I'd like to share with you about what you can look for, how you know when your partner is emotionally unstable. And the first thing I would tell you is if you're going through a bad time, it's highly likely that you'll see these. Don't panic. Don't panic because it doesn't mean they're having a mental illness episode. It just means it's a season, it's a transition, and you'll want to be there to help them get through it so the two of you can salvage your relationship and deal with this in a healthy way. First of all, they often get angry easy, like just at the drop of the hat, they're angry now. Your partner has suddenly become rigid. If they feel like they used to be like fun-loving and outgoing and risk takers, now all of a sudden they're very rigid, even with their responses. This is just another way that they're reacting to this emotional turmoil. They might not give importance to other feelings. I've seen this firsthand when people get very sick or very scared. They become very egocentric. It's almost a vigilance that happens within the mind to help them rethink how to get through this. They become escapist. Many times, people that were never prone to feeling trapped or afraid or tied down, all of a sudden, they just want out. And you understand that if you think about a terrible physical illness that's growing inside someone, it's taking over their body, their attempt to escape their life is almost a metaphor for their body wanting to escape this tumor or getting rid of the tumor or whatever illness they're struggling with. They're fearful. Maybe they're scared of being rejected or criticism. So in that manner, if you saw that, you would certainly have to be gentle and overwhelmingly understanding and patient with them. They have a certain negative vibe around them. No matter what's happening, they will bring it down. You can feel it. It almost feels like a cloud resting over your relationship. And once again, even though it's transition, when you're going through it, a month can seem like years. It's very, very difficult. So you have to take care of yourself too. They often forget to take care of their health. This is where a really healthy partner can really guide them and say, you know what, let's go to the gym today. I'm going to cook for you today. We're going to have something healthy. Because if you notice your partner has given up or just eating junk or not taking care of themselves, this is their way of dealing with the problem. They may have just shut off completely. Sometimes people feel the need to do that. They struggle to do regular work. If you see your partner just calling in sick or not being there, and you have to be careful how you say it, how you confront them. Maybe they could call their boss and tell them what they're going through. But more than likely, if you encourage them and say, listen, I'm going to pack you a lunch, or I'm going to come see you at lunch, or I'm going to come and pick you up after work, they just feel that extra support, and they'll be able to carry on that routine because you want them to have that routine. That routine of going to work is very important in their healing and moving through this. Their emotions are too intense. If you have a partner who used to be pretty subdued, pretty logical, and all of a sudden they start acting intense and illogical, and that you know that there's something the two of you are going through, or maybe they're going through, then you can almost conclude that this is their way of working through this. They're always complaining. Some people, they're going to go back, they're going to regress to what they saw growing up in their family of origin. And if their parents complained as a way of venting or getting this emotional trauma out of them, then you can imagine that your partner is going to follow suit. I think the thing to do in that case is not pay attention to the complaining, but rather pay attention, especially when they're not, and tell them you see they're getting better. They need to be reminded that they're getting better, or reassured that they are going to get better, because they will. These are a transition. The methods of dealing with emotional unstableness, I think it's especially for a woman, if you're the husband, you can give her assurance that the two of you are together and you're not going to leave her. Women really worry about that, especially in the wake of breast cancer or something that she feels might make you think she's less attractive. Take time and observe the situation. She's counting on you to be an anchor. So as much as you can, observe what you're seeing so you can give her actual facts instead of what she may be conjuring up in her mind. Go for a heart-to-heart talk. Tell her this is hurting you too, that you're scared for her, that you love her, that it's hurting you too, but you are there for her and you're not going anywhere. Once again, that reassurance is going to really, really help stabilize her. And go for therapy. I think when a husband will step up and say, you know what, I know you're going through a bad time. Let's go get help from experts. You know, I can learn better to help you, and maybe you can learn some things. If you're the guy, so wives, listen up. If it's your husband that's going through this, then I think it's really important that you, number one, show them compassion. Men are not used to feeling weak or vulnerable. And so when you're compassionate and you say, it's okay, like, I love you, and this is just a temporary time. We're just going to go through this together. That's going to make them feel better. Ask what is disturbing them. Sometimes guys keep their deepest thoughts inside them. They don't want to tell you. They don't want to burden anybody. They were raised that way. Tell them you want to be part of their healing team, so you'll do better if you know. Keep a calm attitude. Don't overreact with your tone or your behaviors. It's important. If your partner, if your husband was the stable one, now you have to get your stable on for them, and you have to be strong so that you won't overreact or get just so emotional that you're making them attend to you instead of what they should be doing with their healing. Give him space. Guys deal better when they have more space to kind of think about things in a quiet manner. This is how they're raised, once again. So you can't undo that. And it's important you don't encroach upon that space that they so badly need. Go for couples therapy. Just tell them you need help to know how to help them. And that's good. And tell them that you think it's important for the two of you for your marriage, that you love your marriage and you love them. And so you need counseling together. I think it's very, very difficult if you're not married to be with someone who is emotionally unstable. And at that point, I would say, if you feel like it's overwhelming for you and that this is something that you just are not equipped, then I think talking to them honestly and telling them, I'm very close to you. There's so many things I love about you, but I just can't handle this right now. But make sure you never do that when they're at their most vulnerable point. after they're on the way to healing and they're getting better, then that would be a time to go to therapy and discuss the future, the prospects of your relationship in the future. Emotional instability or unstableness is by its very name and definition temporary. It's a reaction to something traumatic. Once you get through that situation, may take 1 month, may take 6 months, may take a year. Your partner, if you're willing to stand with them and stay committed to the healing process, they will get better.